Hey, so this is in response to a post on the Street Parking Pregnant Postpartum Facebook group about coning. So, coning isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just feedback. So, whether it's a little bit of coning or a lot of coning, it is just information about what is happening with the pressure system and in your core. So when that pressure is not balanced or distributed evenly or being used efficiently, then it starts to go towards like the weakest link. And during pregnancy, quite often that's going to be the linea alba, or that line down the middle where you might see some coning. It's also possible that it might be your pelvic floor. So those two places are generally the weaker links of this whole system. So that coning is good information about how you're managing the pressure. So whether you take that information and then use it to modify your movement or not is going to affect your potentially long-term core and pelvic health. So if you don't change up how you're managing that pressure, it's possible that you could just continue to create an imbalance in that system. You could continue to put a lot of extra demand on your pelvic floor or your linea alba, perhaps creating a weaker line of connective tissue there. Maybe it's going to be wider, maybe it's going to be just weaker, but it's possible that not changing how you're managing that pressure will impact your long-term core and pelvic health. So ways to manage the pressure are going to be, obviously you can change the movement, like instead of going from a plank position, you can go from your knees or an elevated push-up. But you can also manage that pressure by changing how you're breathing. So sometimes you might be able to manage the coning by taking a deeper breath into your belly, or like a full 360 breath rather than just holding your breath. You can manage it by adjusting your posture. So notice if you have your pelvis kind of tucked under or your tailbone sticking out. What happens if you neutralize your pelvis and your rib cage? See if maybe that helps. And then you can also manage it by paying attention to where and how you hold tension in your body. So maybe you have a tendency to like really squeeze and clench your glutes a lot, or to suck your belly in, or clenching in your shoulders or in your jaw. So those are some basic ideas on how you can help yourself manage that pressure. And I would always try one of those strategies first, and then if none of those strategies work, then you can change the range of motion, the number of repetitions, or change the movement completely to something that allows you to maintain a connection to and some control of how you're using the pressure in your core. In terms of a list of movements to look out for, unfortunately, it's not just like as black and white as that. Obviously, nothing is. But that's because it's different for everyone, and it's different day to day and for every pregnancy. So in general, it's going to be movements where you have to create a lot of bracing through your core. So that might be something as simple as plank position. For some people, it might be how far you extend through your spine. I worked with someone who got a lot of coning when she was in the shower and like washing her hair, because she was leaning back so much that it caused all of this pressure to go outwards in her belly, and she noticed a lot of coning. So it could be something as simple as that. In the mama modifications that are listed with every workout, it'll usually include some information about how or why you might want to modify. So it'll say something like, if you are managing diastasis, consider subbing one of these other movements. So that might be a good tool to use to help guide you. And then I would just keep checking, like pay attention. I know that it might seem kind of like a daunting task. You can't just dive into any movement assuming that it's going to be okay, but it's also an opportunity to really connect to your body and to how you use this system of your core and how to make yourself more efficient with your breath and with your movement patterns now. And hopefully it sets you up for that deeper connection to your core in the postpartum period. So I'm sorry that wasn't like a super short and clear answer to your question, but I hope that it helps. Feel free to reach out anytime. I'm sending you a video response because I am currently walking my dog and my baby is napping in the stroller. So, okay, reach out anytime.